following program has been classified PG. Parental guidance is recommended for young viewers. It contains nudity and adult themes.
In May 2008, a picture was released from the Brazilian capital to Survival International. It was quickly picked up by the world media. It caught the public's imagination. Taken in a remote part of the Brazilian Amazon, it shows naked painted figures firing arrows at a passing plane. Who are they? Why are they there? And why was the picture and the claim that there are uncontacted tribes in the Amazon dismissed as a hoax? This is the story of a dangerous journey deep into a vast expanse of forest to find out more about the tribe in the picture. Richard Warman, veteran producer of many films about tribes in remote regions, is mounting an expedition with filmmaker Ben Young to find the truth about the tribe in the picture. Are the pictures faked? Why are these Indians there? Are they dangerous? Just who are they, and why do they remain uncontacted? To start answering these questions, Richard and Ben are making their way to Feijó, the nearest town to the tribe in the picture. They stop on a new road to look at the impact development is having on the forest.
Well, this is devastation. This is 20 years old. They've been cutting this back. Cattle are the enemy of the tribe in the picture. Bicycles, motor cars, diggers, people.
You can imagine as soon as this road is tarmacked, the whole thing's going to be
wide, and then there'll be cattle either side.
From here, they'll make the 10-day journey upriver near to where the tribe is supposed to live. While preparations are being made, some of the local townspeople are asked about the tribe. Do they think the picture is a fake?
Eu tenho certeza que lá tem índio bravo. Lá tem. Porque lá eu não vi eles ainda, mas eu já vi rastro deles nas praias.
Eu estudo que dizem que os índios de antigamente eram muito bravos e não tinham contato com seres humanos assim. Eu acho que é isso.
Eu acho que eles são lá umas coisas abandonadas no meio da mata, né? Eu acho que é isso, né? E só veio falar que encontra ele lá, mas tá bravo, né? Se for lá pro lado dele, já tá com o pessoal.
Richard and Ben hope to find out the truth about the tribe in the picture. The next step in the journey is a meeting with a key person in the story. This is Jose Carlos Morales, the man who released the photographs. He set up 2 base camps to protect the tribe from contact with the outsiders and has agreed to take Richard and Ben on the journey upriver to the camps. His daughter Paula and her brother Arturo work with him and are coming too. The journey upriver is dangerous. In 2004, Morales was in his canoe when 3 arrows were fired at him. One of them went through his face and exited between his jugular and spinal column. Richard and Arturo try and find boatmen willing to take them and the crew on the long journey upstream into remote territory.
Vai tirar a diária livre, né? Porque a comida, assim, o negócio tudo é por conta nossa.
But the boatmen seem fearful.
As pessoas acham que a gente não pode subir o rio, porque acham que nesse tempo tá muito seco. As pessoas falam, mas não conhecem, porque a gente tá lá há 20 anos já, e dá pra subir numa boa. Isso aí, o pessoal que tem medo mesmo de subir lá. As pessoas daqui acham que não esse tempo tem muito pau, mas é muito raso, mas com compensação dá pra ir tranquilo.
The expedition to the base camps can only be made by canoe. There's safety in numbers and 5 boats are needed. After much negotiation, they find their boatman. With all the equipment and fuel, weight is critical, so most food will come from hunting and fishing. The guns also provide a deterrent against attack. In 10 days' time, Richard and Ben hope to be at the first base camp before trekking through forest to the second one. They won't try and make contact with the tribe in the picture, but if the tribe really exists, some evidence could help it survive. The only quick way out of the forest is by helicopter, if landing is possible. The Amazon rainforest is the most biodiverse region in the world. Home to 30% of the world's species, there are millions of different forms of life. Some are still unknown, unrecorded, or just undiscovered. The state of Acre is one of the remotest regions of Brazil. It reaches as far as the Peruvian border, and vast expanses of its forest remain intact. During the last 2 decades, Morelos has spent a lot of time deep in the forest. He works for the Brazilian Indian Protection Agency, FUNAI. He claims the pictures he released to the press proves existence of uncontacted Indians in the area. But some people have dismissed them as fakes. Richard and Ben are now 2 days upriver and closer to Indian territory. There are a few settlers living here, known as Riberinos or river people. They clear small areas of forest and try and make a living from cattle rearing, fishing and cultivation. There are no roads, electricity or phone lines here. Josefa has a small farm on the river. She just spotted strangers in the forest.
Ela só pronto, que nem o viado mesmo, mas não era o viado. Dia que é o índio mesmo. Eu estou com muito medo mesmo de estar aqui sozinho, mas meu menino. É medo mesmo. Agora...
Her neighbour Chico is an experienced woodsman and has agreed to join the expedition. He backs up Josefa's claim.
É que eu vi foi uns índios quando eu cheguei de casa, do mato. Não, eu fiquei só olhando até eles entraram no mato. Eu fiquei lá onde eu estava mesmo. Aí eles entraram na mata e fiquei ouvindo a carreira deles aberto o rio. E lá eu voltei. Na mesma hora eu corri e peguei um caminho que tem pelo mundo da terra, no campo, para ver se conseguia ver eles mais de perto. Eu assoviei para ver se eles olharam para mim dar com a mão, mas só que eles não olharam, né? Eu também não chamei por causa que eles não olharam. Eles tinham o cabelo comprido. Usavam assim uma faixa assim amarela de uns 4 dedos de largura ou mais, amarrada assim na cintura dele.
His description bears striking resemblance to the figures in the picture. It's dawn and time to get going. The shelters used for sleeping are dismantled. Nothing is thrown away, and the cord used to bind the palms is retrieved for further use. Richard and Ben are 5 days upriver from the town, and they are entering isolated and wild territory. Constantly having to haul the canoes up rapids slows progress down. This land has been set aside for Indians only. There are no Riberinos here. They stop at an Indian village to spend the night. Perhaps they can answer some questions about the tribe in the picture. The Kampa or the Ashanika are the biggest tribe in the area. Some have gone to live in the towns, but many prefer to hold on to their customs and live in villages away from white settlements. In the past, the Kampa have been used as slaves by loggers and rubber farmers and forced to help clear isolated tribes from their villages. The Amazon rainforest has been disappearing at an average rate of 7,000 square miles a year, and as their land is taken away, many tribes have tried to defend it. Loggers, and prospectors have often gone into their villages and simply shot anyone they could find. The Campa had their first contact with white settlers hundreds of years ago, but many other Amazonian tribes have only been in touch with the outside world recently. Maybe there are others to be contacted. Richard is welcomed with a drink.
This is the local beer. It's got macaxeira and water, and it's fermented with spit.
While Richard's sampling the local beer and spit, Ben gets his face painted.
They are empty. And a little bit in there, but I can't go with the sediment.
Paula shows the campers some of the pictures her father Morales has taken from the air, and the villagers have some amazing revelations. They claim the tribe in the picture was responsible for a kidnapping.
A criança, ó, na mulher. Rapaz é grande. Mais alto assim. Mais alto? Mais alto. Frecha é algo bem grande. Rapaz, acabou com mesmo. Rapaz, aí acabou com. Quando grita, a gente vai para baixo aí, a gente vai. Aí, correu. Foi embora. Levaram o menino bem assim. Levou? Jogou lá no mato. Correu tudo.
Paula's father Morales is trying to protect the uncontacted tribes by setting aside an area just for them and leaving them in isolation. But what do the Campa Indians think of this policy?
E agora, Cabo Bravo está roubando, vou matar o pessoal. E não mata ele, não? Não tira ele. Vou matar ele. Não mata nenhuma. Ah, rapaz. Nunca matei ele também, já vou embora. Acabou o velho de ter merece. Ele não mata não, deixa ele. Ele é parente, não foi matar o parente, né?
Back on the river we meet Joe Ashanika, a Campa teacher. He too has strong views about the tribe in the picture.
O pessoal que está lá, né, o Meirelles, não sei se ele vai conseguir amansar, acho que ele não vai conseguir amansar ele não. Como ele está fazendo aí, ele não vai amansar. A pessoa só vai amansar ele, o cara chegar perto e pegar ele, né? Como meu avô antigo, ele amansou assim, muitas vezes. Pegou, trouxe e amansou. E mandou trazer outro pessoal, ele veio.
The boats are entering the dangerous territory demarcated for uncontacted Indians. This is close to the place where Morales was shot through the neck. Richard Warman and Ben Young are making the long and dangerous journey into one of the remotest parts of the Amazon rainforest to find the truth about the uncontacted tribe, photographed from the air. The forest provides good cover for any aggressor. An open canoe is a sitting target. With the river low, the boats are sometimes very close to the bank. After 10 days on the river, finally Richard and Ben arrive at the first base camp. This base camp was set up near the Peruvian border after reports of isolated Indians had been received by FUNAI, the Indian Protection Agency. Morales started building it in 1987 and has spent most of his time in this remote place ever since. He identified the locations of uncontacted Indians by making aerial surveys. Although he keeps these flights to a minimum, he's able to monitor their numbers and well-being. 2004, he was nearly killed. He believes it could be by a member of a tribe like this one.
Eu fui pescar domingo. Saí daqui desse porto com uma canoa sozinho. Recebi uma flechada, uma flecha parecida com essa, mas só que era outra. Atravessou o rosto, atravessou o pescoço e saiu aqui, na nuca, um palmo aqui atrás. Eu arranquei a flecha, pulei na água, atravessei o rio. Estava com o pescoço meio duro. Felizmente não pegou a carótida nem a coluna cervical, senão eu tinha morrido.
Meirelles was able to radio for help. A military helicopter arrived 2 hours later and took him to hospital. Despite massive blood loss, he was saved. He thinks tribes like this one may have come over from Peru fleeing illegal loggers who often shoot them on sight. This Funai footage from 1989 shows unidentified corpses found in the Javare River. They'd been shot. There were people from the uncontacted Kurubu tribe and were probably killed by illegal loggers. A Funai team made contact with the Kurubu. The goal of the contact was to monitor their survival and persuade them to keep away from the forest areas where loggers operate. Funai can monitor their well-being, but contact with the outsiders has resulted in the Kurubu contracting malaria, influenza and other new diseases to which they have no immunity. The Amazon was home to hundreds of indigenous nations, each with their own languages and customs. When settlers started arriving from Portugal and Spain, they needed the labour and the skills of the Indians to survive, and native resistance was met with gunfire. Many Indians fled into the forest to escape the oppressors who brought war and disease. It's possible that some of them formed the tribes living in isolation which Meirelles is trying to protect. Richard and Ben visit another camper village downriver. The camper or Ashanika live in land especially demarcated for them. It borders the area Funai has set aside for the uncontacted tribes only. This is causing tension.
Será que ele vem para sair? Ele não sai não. Ele está soprando. Para chamar atrás dele, ele vai matar, para matar gente. Ele não vai sair, não mata nunca para amansar. Como pode amansar? Aí ele mesmo, mas ele não pode sair. Como nós está falando, aquele compadre Meirelles, ele ficou lá, ele queria para amansar, né? Aí não sabe filha dele como ele fala, né? Aí depois ele tá andando aí ataca com o flecha nele, com o compadre Meirelles. E eu tô culpado comigo também. Eu queria ir para atrás dele, para arrastar, né? Ele queria para fazer como ele faz também com o Meirelles aí, ó. Aí fala, chama ele aqui. Tu não vai flecha comigo. Vem cá, eu juntava com presente vocês, teu roupa, para vestir, né?
This camper elder seems to think Meirelles should pacify the isolated tribes. They have seen and heard figures trying to steal valuable items like cooking pots and machetes, but can't communicate with them because they've got a different language. These camper elders think pots could be the answer.
Não pode amassar. Agora índio assim, levando roupa, leva tudo panela. Índio tá... Como é índio? Tá animado, índio animar. Tá animado índio. Ó, parente, tá aí panela, tá aqui, panela. Tá indo.
Essa panela não acaba. E a gente, é igual que nós estamos usando de panela de barro. Panela de barro, a gente leva, a mulher leva assim para carregar, quebra. Esse daqui não quebra. Pode soltar, é alumínio, solta a massa, mas não quebra.
Meirelles has spotted what appears to be a metal cooking pot on this photograph. It's probably been stolen from one of the neighbouring groups of Indians. This supports what the Kampa have said about the tribe in the picture stealing from them. They find or grow cotton, which is spun and woven into cloth. Here is a bale of cotton and a basket for collecting it. We can see that the men wear cotton waistbands and the women wear skirts. They are completely self-sufficient and their community seems to be thriving, just like an Indian village might have been 500 years ago, before the arrival of the white settlers. Like the tribe in the picture, the Kampa collect everything they need from making clothes from the forest. These looms are made from a few sticks and may be similar to the ones used by the uncontacted Indians. The Kampa will depend on bows and arrows to survive. The process of arrow making is long and laborious. They have the luxury of metal tools and nylon cord. But newly made arrows from uncontacted tribes have been found recently which have been cut using animal teeth. Cutting the hard tips would be extremely time-consuming using teeth. Moreles believes that overflights cause the isolated tribes confusion and stress. They fire at the planes and many valuable arrows needed for hunting are lost. As a result, Moreles tries to limit his aerial surveys to a minimum. As night draws in on the Kampa village, some worrying news emerges.
E aí agora tá aparecendo o índio bravo agora. Aí Tetel deixou lá no remanso, onde tava remanso grande, onde tava o Finato Irã caiu. Aí deixou o índio bravo lá. Aí olhou o Tetel ali atrás, já veio o índio bravo, atrás dele. Foi Tetel cair dentro do rio. Aí nadando, atravessando do outro lado. O índio bravo atrás dele.